right here. I can start actually having the dog at my side, place, get her going away from me. And so she's lagging, place. Good. So I'm not using the treat anymore, but you saw where she didn't get her feet up. I'm going to start incorporating a form of correction. It's just this little leash pop on the chain. It's nothing firm. It's not really hard. It's just I'm sending her the cue. I need you to finish the job.
Hi, folks. You know, I often hear pointing dog owners question the value of placeboard training with pointing dogs. So, you know, we decided to get an answer to this question, and we went to Mike O'Donnell at Quail Ridge Kennel and Preserve in Connecticut. Mike is a professional trainer. He's a NAVHDA judge, NAVHDA trainer. He works full-time training dogs at Quail Ridge, and Mike knows all about placeboards. This is a 3-part series on placeboard training and pointing dogs. You should watch all 3 parts so you get a full understanding of the application of placeboards. All right, let's join Mike.
All right, we have a little background on Mike, and we're with him right now in Connecticut at Quail Ridge. Mike, tell me what we're going to see today.
We're going to see placeboards being used for our pointing dogs. They have a lot of application for teaching our dog a lot of different tasks that we need, especially in NAVHDA testing. I do a lot of NAVHDA work, and I find them useful for getting a lot of those tasks taught to the dog.
Wonderful. Let's get going.
All right, thank you, Paul. So this is one of our placeboards, and they're very simple to make. It's just some 3/8 inch plywood, some 3/4 material to rim it out, and then I put some carpet on the top of it, and that comes in handy later on as I have a dog go into the board. It gives them a little something to get traction on and stop. But it's just this. I think this is about 3 inches tall. It's just doesn't take a big thing, but this is it. And what it does is it provides a very distinct boundary for the dog. So for a lot of the tasks that we're going to try and teach the dog, whether it be staying still, whether it be coming to a stop in motion when we get into our whoa work, there's a very distinct boundary there, and it makes it easier for the dog to learn. It's just a great tool for us. I can take it with me to a training area. It's light enough, carry it in, put it down, do my work, move on. And as we get going along, I'll show you how we can wean a dog off of the board after they've learned these different tasks that we're trying to teach them.
Dogs Afield, presented by Native Performance Dog Food, providing performance diets for the canine athlete, and brought to you in part by RST, manufacturers of short chamber, low pressure shot shells. Mud River Dog Products, fundamentally changing the expectations of the hunter and dog enthusiast. Pete Shoe Dryer, inventor of the footwear dryer. Take on the nuisance of foot odor. Wooden Stream Outdoor Footwear, outfitting adventures since 1957. Visit woodenstream.com for a dealer near you. Canine Active, providing safe, non-toxic pain relief for your dog. Merkel Shotguns, robust, reliable, and intuitive. That's what matters most when every split second counts.
So to start the dog on it, I first just want to get the dog to understand going up on the board. I'm just going to take Laney here. Okay. So I start with treats, and actually I recommend to people, take your little puppy when you first get your puppy home. And most of our puppies love treats. They like treats, and at first we're just going to take the treat, and without even saying anything, just get the dog accustomed to going on the board. And then I'll just coax them off, and we'll coax them back on, and they don't get the treat until all 4 feet are on the board. So you saw right there, she didn't have 1 foot totally on. Come on, kid. And I won't give her the treat until all 4 feet are on the board. As soon as the 4 feet are on the board, that's when she gets the treat. Come on. Now, I'm not going to ask her to sit. Myself in particular, don't care to teach a pointing dog sit early on. Where she sat on her own, I don't worry about it. But right here, when she's standing, that's when she'll get the treat. And after a while, this dog's already had some exposure to it, obviously. But a little puppy will just start bounding to that board, and he won't want to leave the board because they want that treat. But I'll just keep coaxing them off. And once they're showing that they're heading to the board easily, that's where I can start putting a word to it. And I use the word place. So come on, Laney. So then I'll just say place, and I'll actually use my hand to coax over, and I won't give the treat until that fourth foot is on there, till all 4 feet are on there. Good girl. Now I just need to get some more treats from you guys if I could. Thank you. So that's it. That's how we start out, and I can start when she's going readily. I can just increase the distance that she's going to go to earn that treat. Come on, kid. Place. And again, I won't give up the treat until all 4 feet are on. And what I find with a lot of dogs is they're not totally aware of their back feet. So they'll put the front feet on, and then you'll get a back foot straggling. And by holding out on that reward until all 4 feet are on, I'm really getting them accustomed to paying attention to those feet. Come on, kid. Where those feet are, and get them all on there. Place. Good girl. And then so early on, I'm not going to ask her to remain on the board for a big length of time, but I just want her to start responding to go over there and you'll get a treat. Come on, kid. So I'm not going to treat her here. Lainey, place. And I'm going to hold out. And I'll move my body over a little bit to help her move her body as well. Good girl. Very good girl. One more. Come on. Place. Good. And so what I start to look for is for the dog to actually leave me and go to it. I start moving with the dog at first. I'm moving over with her. But I want to get to the point where I get to the end, the distance my leash will reach, and I'll ask her, place. And I'm staying over here, and she's going away from me. And that's an important piece of it, is because I use the place board when I'm doing my e-collar conditioning to teach the dog to go away from me to turn off stimulation. A lot of folks using e-collars, they only use them for recall, and so the dog gets stimmed until it comes back to the handler, and then you end up with a dog that goes into this default mode of when it feels pressure, always running back to the handler. That makes it very difficult when you're going to try and teach the dog whoa work. If you introduce an e-collar in your whoa work, many times you'll find that as soon as you stim the dog, instead of stopping, it'll kind of creep back to you because it's got this conditioned response to come back for the pressure.
A quick message from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more place board training with Mike O'Donnell.
Hi folks. Our dogs work very hard for us. They need and deserve a high performance dog food. My choice is Native. Native has been formulated for the canine athlete. It has none of the low value, hard to digest fillers such as soy, corn, wheat. It has only high-grade chicken and high-grade digestible grains. It comes in 4 levels of fat and protein. Each level is formulated for the stress and activity level for your dog at that time. Make the switch today. Your dog will be happy, and so will you.
Hi folks, Merkel is my choice for a shotgun. Whether it be simple backyard clay shooting or competitive clay shooting or upland bird hunting, Merkel is spot on. You throw it up to your shoulder, it's always right there. Merkel is known for its elegant, high-performance shotguns. The new 40E field-grade shotgun is offered at an attainable and an affordable price. The Merkel shotgun is robust, reliable, and intuitive. That's what matters most when every split second counts. Check out Merkel today. You won't be disappointed.
But by using the board to teach the dog to go away from me, I can start incorporating my e-collar into that to send her with the e-collar. Place. So she's going away for a treat right now, but I'm building that habit, that response that she will leave my side and go to this object. So after the dog is doing that readily, we don't need to keep using the treats. I've just got her exposed to it. She's going to do it. And I'm going to build the duration of time that I ask her to remain here. So far, she's staying on. A lot of young dogs, you give them the treat, and then they want to start wandering around. And that's where I would just pop them and say, no, place, and just get them back. Come here, and I'll release her. Something that I do on any of my releases is you'll see me tap the dog's head. For me, that's just something I do in my training. I think it makes it more black and white for the dog. It makes it more clear. you cannot move or you cannot come off this board until I physically touch you on the head. And as we do the whoa work later on, you'll see where I use that as well, that they have to stay still until I come back and tap them on the head. And that's one of the things I think that makes it clearer for the dog just what I'm asking of them to do. Come here, kid. So I'm going to try and I'm going to turn her. I'm going to probably have my back to the camera here, but I'm going to turn her and see what. So there's a foot that comes off. So all I do, just like that, I didn't step on her foot hard, but a lot of our young dogs, when they get on the board at first, they will start to step off. And I kind of, I'm being a little, unfair to her because I'm coaxing her off. But if they step off, you would just tap the toe. I'm just touching the top of her toe. It's just like you or I, if somebody stepped on our foot, our natural reaction would be to pull our foot out of the way. And so when the young dog starts to step off the board, I would just do that and just say that place command again, just to reinforce it. I could also just give them a little leash pressure as I'm tapping them and say place, back. If she were to back up on the board, I would just simply give leash pressure back on her if she went side to side. But many times you'll see them just put one foot off. They start to lose track of a foot. And the simplest thing is just to gently tap on it and get them to put it up there. But you can see that she's right at that edge. She knows where that edge is. It's very distinct for her, and she doesn't want to go past that edge. If I was just trying to do this on the grass, it's not that easy for the dogs to know that there is a boundary there. It's all the same. It's the same playing form, and it just makes it that much more difficult. This is pretty clear. The dog can just say, I can't step off any of these edges. And that's what makes it such a good learning tool for a number of the things that we do. Right here, kid. So, right here. I can start actually having the dog at my side, place, get her going away from me. And so she's lagging, place. Good. So I'm not using the treat anymore, but you saw where she didn't get her feet up. I'm going to start incorporating a form of correction. It's just this little leash pop on the chain. It's nothing firm. It's not really hard. It's just I'm sending her the cue. I need you to finish the job. Come here. Come on. Place. Good girl. Atta girl. Good job. Very good. Come on. We'll just see what she'll do for us one more. Right here. Place. Good. And now, she should hold back. You know, we see when we start doing whoa training, we see, no, place. We see people putting that pressure on a dog to see that they'll give in. And I'm just gonna command her place while I do it. No, place, no. So I'm being unfair to her because I'm on the choke chain and she's responding. She knows to give into that pressure. Place, no, place, no. Good. Good girl. There you go. Good girl. All right. Very good. So that's our introduction is get them used to it. Build up this where they're going. You're going to see that she's just going to naturally want to go to this. She's a young dog. She's just 15 months old, but having this understanding is a great way early on to kind of just keep our dogs a little bit more focused and in control as we're trying to do some of our work. I mean, I've done some demonstrations. Please, good. I've done some demonstrations for Untitled Chapter recently where I had her with me, and I could just tell her to place, put her on the board, and I can be doing my thing, talking about other stuff with her off behind me, and I don't have to worry that she's getting into trouble or that she's wandering off. And it's good practice for her. I could certainly put her in a crate where she's just naturally relaxed, but this is helping her to learn to just do what I ask her to do, stay there, and kind of chill out.
Hi Bird Dogs Afield viewers. I'm here today with Dylan, who's almost 10 years old and still hunting hard. So in order to help him, we use CANINE Active. It's for working and hunting breeds, and it is my go-to for pain relief and for an anti-inflammatory. You can use it before strenuous activity to help keep them moving and help reduce muscle soreness, or you can use it after for recovery. Try it today, CANINE Active.
All right, so I want to carry on a little bit more with this. I showed how we've got the dog going to the board, that we've incorporated a word for it, that she understands what I want her to do. And it's been pretty low key. We've been doing it pretty low key. We started out just with those treats, and then I'm just giving her the gentle reminders. Lainey, here, place. And no, place. Good girl. And you know, it's gentle, and that's how it is. I want her to understand. But we know that she has an understanding of the board at this point. And this is what I want, for the understanding that I want before I start doing my e-collar introduction to it. Right here, come here. I use this as a part of my e-collar introduction. I'm a strong believer in, I use an e-collar for many of my tasks, very low level stimulation. It's a tremendous training tool. It's a long distance leash. But I want to make sure that my dog has a solid understanding of how to react to the stimulation when I give it to her. And to me, that means I need to teach her 3 different actions in terms of e-collar use. The one that is most common to everybody is recall. A lot of us, we get a young dog and the dog starts getting bold and taking off, and all of a sudden we buy an e-collar so we can get them back when they're out running in the field. That's the most common. And teaching recall with an e-collar, or reinforcing the recall with an e-collar, is pretty straightforward and simple. I'm a believer in always teaching a task first before we actually incorporate the e-collar into it. And so that's what I would do with my recall. I'd make sure the dog would recall on a check cord. I could pop it with the cord and get it to recall. And when the dog is showing me that it understands the command that I'm giving it, that's where I would start overlaying the e-collar to get the response. But another command that I want the dog to be able to comply with is going away from me. And that's where the board comes in. So I want to be able to command her to go away from me and use e-collar pressure to get her to do it, and have her understand that by getting to the board, that's how I turn the pressure off. And that gives her a little more balance on collar use. And then the other thing I want the dog to understand for e-collar pressure is remaining still. So here's where a board comes in handy as well. So once I get her on a board, eventually it's going to turn into a whoa command, but for now it's just going to be a wait command. If in the retriever game, this becomes a sit command to him. But I just want her to remain stationary, and that's what's so good about the board as well, is that it's that spot that she knows she needs to stay stationary. But let's presume that we've already done e-collar work on recall, teaching our dog recall. It's a whole separate thing. Most people have very little trouble with that. And you want to also incorporate the e-collar usage into making your dog go away. This is how we would show that, or we would teach it. I'm sorry. Come on, lady. So again, I want to have her where she's willingly moving forward. Place. I'm getting her to go away from me. I take that half step to help her get going, and then we'll release her. Come on. And then I'm going to start overlaying my e-collar. I'm going to apply e-collar pressure the moment I give the command, and I'm going to keep the e-collar on until her feet are going onto that board. Now, as her feet are going onto the board, if she were to overshoot the board, I would apply e-collar pressure again. Or if she just got 2 feet on the board and not the back feet, I would have the e-collar pressure on, and then I would use my lead to help her get back up onto the board. But we're gonna apply some pressure. Now again, the thing is, we have to know the e-collar level that our dog works at. We don't want to use a level that's making the dog vocalize and jump and twist and shout. It should just be very, very low level, the lowest level you can, and it's just telling the dog, I need you to do the task for me. So I'm gonna make sure I'm at the right level with mine. And the moment I give her the command, I'm also going to just apply my stim button. Place. My button's off right there. When the foot was getting on, nope, leave it. Now I don't want her sniffing. When she's on, that's why I told her to leave it. I don't want her sniffing at anything. I just want her on that board, relaxed, and kind of focused on what do you want from me next. Right here. Come here. Atta girl. Same thing. Place. My button's on, off. And as you see here, early on in the training, most of our dogs are going to leave us, go to the board, and then turn around and face us. It's just kind of a natural reaction for the dogs when they've gone away from us. They're looking to us. I don't mind it. I think that's a good thing, is the dog is turning to look to me for the next direction or the next step. When we start doing some of the whoa stuff later on, you'll see dogs stop and turn. And when it comes to the whoa work, as it gets going advanced and you're off the board, most dogs tend to just stop and keep facing the direction they were. But eventually they will face us. Right here, come on, kid. So, same thing, place. Good. Button was on until she was getting her front feet were actually on, and as I saw that she was finishing the task, that's when I turned the button off. And I'm just using a very, very low level. Good girl.
A quick message from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more place board training with Mike O'Donnell.
Hi friends. You know, whether you're a hiker, hunter, jogger, walker, all of those activities create sweat and moisture in your footwear. That moisture leads to bacteria, mildew, mold, all bad things for your feet. To eliminate that moisture, you need a peat shoe dryer. The new PowerCell Peat eliminates that moisture and creates a better atmosphere for good foot health.
Admit it, you've been busted. Maybe more than once. I've been busted too, but it happens a lot less now that I'm ecstatic. Not the giggly kind, the odor eliminating kind. New 3M Thinsulate Platinum insulation with ecstatic odor control in wooden stream hunting boots. The first full line of hunting boots to have it. Odor stomping, warm, waterproof, and breathable. I'm ecstatic, for good reason. Don't get busted, get wooden stream boots.
And so I could start stretching it out where obviously I need to get to the point where she's going to leave me altogether, where she's going to go beyond the reach of my lead, and that's what I'm looking for. And will she finish the job? Place. Place. So right there was a really good example. I had turned I said place, I gave the stim, and she just kind of got confused and froze up. I kept the button on. I didn't do anything, but when I said place the second time, I took that one step forward. And just our body movement will help the dog start going. And that was able to get her on the board and be successful. Good girl. So don't be afraid to use those cues that can help the dog be successful. I mean, the whole purpose of doing the training here is to have the dog be successful, learn what we ask of them, and build this steady habit of just doing it right for us. Laney, place. So there, I didn't move. She went right over. I put the pressure on. Good girl. I'm going to see if I can get her to go a little further. Come here, kid. Place. Good. And that was fine, but she was a little bit slow. You know, I mean, dogs will get bored with doing this. She was kind of slow going there. Good girl. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to bump up one level on my pressure. And that will start bumping up until we speed the dog up and see that very direct response. Place. Little bit, you know, you saw her start out pretty quick. You know, she still towards the end was a little, but you could see where she definitely moved a little faster for us. Come here. So I'm just going to repeat that same level. Place. That's what I want to see, is that pretty direct go. Let's go. And that's telling me that the dog is understanding the faster I get there, the quicker the e-collar pressure goes off. That's showing me that she has that understanding that I'm looking for. And that's what we should feel, you know, we want to feel sure about that when we are teaching our dog, that they do fully understand how to turn the pressure off. One more, please. Good girl. Again, so now she's away from me. I don't have the lead to fix anything, but by doing our e-collar work, if she were to take a step off now, before I could even get to her, I would apply e-collar pressure. I'd be tapping a foot, it would be the e-collar giving her correction, and I would just repeat that place command to her to get her to say, whoops, I got to get my feet back up here. This is where I've got to be. Good girl. Now, some people will teach this same type of action using a crate. We'll see where they just command their dog to go to a crate using the e-collar pressure, and that's another very good way to do it. The only problem I have with doing it with a crate is that a lot of our dogs will go into the crate and then kind of hang at the back of the crate. And then you got to get them back out. You know, when I've got the lead on them, it's easy. I can coax them out with the lead. But once I'm going away from the lead, then you're bending over, you're reaching in, you're kind of getting them to come on out with you. So for me, the board is really a nice way because the dog's right there for me to go up to and get a hold of. Laney, place. And that was no button that time. And that's what I'm going to do. As I've done a number of sends with the button, I'm going to give her what I call a freebie and see, do I get the same reaction as I did when I was using the stim. When I start seeing the dog give me the same reaction with no stim, that's when I will start giving the dog the opportunity to always comply with the command without stim the first time. So I'll give the command, no stim. If she doesn't start to do the job right away, immediately the stim will come on to make her go ahead and finish it up the way she needs to. And then I would step back in my training a little bit and repeat those sessions with using the stim again. Come here, kid. So that's something I need. I need that dog to understand to go away from me, to turn off that e-collar. It becomes useful for me when I start teaching duck search for the NAVDA folks that are looking to do UPT and UT water duck search. I want the ability to push my dog when they're out on water. And if I don't have that tool, my dog gets out on the water and quits, I've got no option. They're coming in and I can't stop them from coming in. I'd rather have the ability to say to my dog, no, you got to keep going. You got to keep going out there, and have them be successful to teach them that there always is a duck out there. And without having a tool like this, you really can't do that. I mean, I could certainly get in a boat and paddle out to them, and we do that as well. But I also use the ability to go away. It becomes part of my fetch command, so I've done my retrieve work where I can command them away to retrieve. But they understand if they get e-collar pressure when I'm telling them to go away, the right action is to turn and go away from me instead of coming back to me. And that's where the foundation is right here. It's just leaving me to go to that board. Come here, kid. So I'm just going to stretch her back a little further. Right here. Place. So she's freezing up. I still got the button on. I'm going to go higher. Place. And you've got to, that was a good example where the dog freezes. Sometime as a handler, we tend to let off because we say, uh-oh, this isn't going the way I planned. I better let go of the button and do something. No, the right thing to do is keep the pressure on. And in my case, I just took the step forward as I repeated the command. I went up one level of pressure and get her to do the job. So I'm going to go back to that distance and see if she can do a better job this time. Place. There we go. And so she's got it the second time. And a lot of it, again, it's a learning experience for the dogs. We have to realize they are going to get confused at times. But we need to get them to work through that confusion and get the task done right when they do know what the command is. Good girl. Very good. All right, so we've shown where we're getting the dog going away from us, and she's willing to go to the board, and I can use that stimulation to get it. And again, that application there is number one, building an understanding in the dog of how to turn off e-collar pressure going away from me, by going away from me. Again, what comes of that action later is, as I've done my retrieve work, is the ability for me to push the dog out to a pile of bumpers. If I send them on a retrieve and they get halfway out and quit, I should just be able to turn on my stim and say, fetch again, and they know the right action is to go away, keep going away, and get to those bumpers and retrieve them for me. And again, as I go into my duck search later on, if the dog starts coming back to me without getting a duck or without continuing the search, by turning on the stim, I can push that dog away from me.
That's the end of part one of place boards and pointing dogs with Mike O'Donnell. Now you really need to watch part 2 and 3 to get a full understanding of the application of place boards.
Bird Dogs Afield, presented by Native Performance Dog Food, and brought to you in part by RST Shot Shells, Mud River Dog Products, Peach Shoe Dryer, Wooden Stream Outdoor Footwear, Canine Active, and Merkel Shotguns.